that we need to address. One, universities make money off interdisciplinary PhDs. They don't need to hire much more faculty. They get to use faculty from different programs and they make new ones. This is happening at York. It's a major moneymaker. Two, few people teach their research. Who's going to teach a Chaucer course? Who's going to teach those classes? The disciplinary people still have an advantage in that. And second, the question of rigor. Okay? And I guess my question is, do we need to just get rid of the idea of discipline and start defining our own fields? Because fields are definable. Fields can be, you can actually become a master of fields. And to me, that's, maybe this was something we just need to drop it, because we're all going to be competing for jobs, and when I talk to faculty, they tell me openly, not many of you are going to get in. That's what they tell me, honestly. And I'm I only have interdisciplinarity. I don't have any discipline.
What's the difference between a field and a discipline, sorry?
A field, for instance, is actually like, for instance, I don't have any discipline, but I have several fields that I look at, forensic science, historiography. They're actually you can define it in terms of topics, for instance, but a discipline is a whole series of canon of methods, for instance. A field is smaller, and we all dabble with these kind of fields, but it's something that can be defined, and you can actually hone. It's kind of like, what course are you going to teach if you're an interdisciplinary person? I mean, what do you know? You know, if it's just your project, few of us are going to teach that. That's just a reality. It's really exciting, but, you know, how are we going to feed ourselves? You know, so I guess this is kind of the question that I have. I mean, this is new. Most people who do interdisciplinary work had disciplines. Then they raised us. They don't know what to do with us. So what are we going to do? You know, I guess, you know, this is kind of the material question I was raised at the beginning, and to me, it's kind of like, I think we have to like look at the really hard picture, which is like, do the institutions have a place for us?
I was actually thinking about that when people were talking. It's not so much like a discipline. It's I have a field. Like I've studied food insecurity in depth, and then I'm going into whatever. And how many jobs are going to be available, like based on slum dwellers? Like, and is that even a viable topic to study? And exactly, how do I teach a course? Can I teach a course in environmental politics in the poli-sci department? Probably not.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure about this at all, actually. Sorry.
So guys, this is nuts. There's a whole bunch of that you're allowed. You know, I think that's a great example of the slum, where there's slum dwellers. And the idea of a discipline is you have a grounding. You ground in some concepts and way of thinking. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you are framing it within geographic thought, then fine. You know, chances are it's very similar to political ecology, and geographers will use political ecology, and it's fine. But I think the point here, you know, stay in your specialization. But if you want to be applicable, you know, if you want to apply this to a larger perspective, then you need to be interdisciplinary, and I think we already are. And jobs, my God, look at the job postings. They want somebody that can actually apply their work. You know,
and you got to be careful too. When you go out to get a job, and engineers, there's different types. There's one called interdisciplinary engineering, and some people throw theirs. Well, what the heck is that? Well, they don't look at sometimes what the actual discipline is. They say, what do you have behind you? What have you done before? How have you applied yourself? The different, because through doing different things, you're enhancing the tool set that you have. Through taking a course in geography, like if I was an engineer and took a course in history, for instance, I'm extending myself a little bit. That says something about me. That doesn't say something about I should be interdisciplinary. It's saying something about my character as well. But then also to apply what I've learned is another of the tool set that I have. So if I can extend myself in the history department and work on a project with them, and it may not help me get a job, but it helps me become a better person to get that job. Because I can sell myself. Because I can. It's all about how you can portray yourself with the tools that you have at your disposal from what you take from being in courses.
And I wasn't trying to kind of take away from the market system we're in, but I am saying I meet someone at a conference. We are interested in something. We set up a panel at a conference. A publication comes out of that panel. They're working in a department I've never heard of before. I go and visit them, and I end up working there. Wow. Like, these connections happen because you have a concept of what you want to do. And we're inside a market system. The but that doesn't mean we're not constantly meeting new people all the time that have new fields, you know. So I'm not saying it's easy, I'm just saying like there's connections you make by just doing what you do instead of staying inside one place. You know, you go do what you do, you're going to end up outside your discipline. You know, you are, unless you really want to be a Chaucer scholar. You know, then that's fine. There's jobs for that too.
I'm very optimistic. I only have an interdisciplinarity.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, you know, I guess my question was just about the pragmatics of
Yeah.
just what we're dealing with. You've raised the funding,
Well,
and you know, who's going to teach the Chaucer?
York is, they had 100 tenured professors retire last year, and they only filled with 2 positions.
Oh my God.
And around all these different institutions now, because of the type of corporate structure a lot of them adopted, you have a situation where they're using this economic uncertainty discourse to justify more sectionals, like, you know, less pay, more students, all these types of things, right, to get this whole machinery thing going. And one of the things I encountered during my master's, and I'll tie this into what you're talking about, is for my thesis I wanted to do a video project because I was arguing that I could be scholarly, I could be theoretical by using this particular type of medium. But because writing, this form of actually producing knowledge, has so stringently enmeshed itself in the faculty, I would argue all faculties, that I had a hard time finding somebody that could actually was willing to take it seriously. That thought it was just some sort of, you know, some sort of thing. And then coming into my PhD, I have to be thinking about, okay, if I'm going to do this type of project, A, I can, because the university doesn't recognize that. B, the other problem is, am I going to get hired if I'm doing this type of work at the end of it? You know, and but I mean, again, I talked about uncertainty, I talked about all these things. As somebody working in an interdisciplinary field, you have to be okay with that.
Oh yeah.
You have to embrace that, and you have to say, okay, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be doing. I don't know what the outcome's going to be. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of it, but I still have to do it. You know, there's a responsibility to my work and all this other stuff.
9 out of 10 job posts are looking for interdisciplinary